to be the majority of the commission here. So everything that will pass on zoning must be unanimous in order to become effective. That's just an FYI. We have an invocation. It's going to be led by District 5, Danielle Cater, from the commission staff of Commissioner Bowling. And Mr. Trey, would you lead us in our pledge, please? Let us stand.
Dear God, we come to you today. We thank you for this day, Lord. This is the day you made. We just want to rejoice and be glad in it like you told us to. Father, we pray for those who are sick and hurting. Lord, and right now we come to you for the business of the hour. These commissioners who are going to vote on policy and zonings and the betterance of our county. Lord, I pray that you would give them unity. That you would give them peace and wisdom to make good decisions that are pleasing to you, not only when they're up there right now, but in all their decisions in life, Lord. For all of us, Lord, I pray that our eyes will be turned toward you and that we would truly seek you as our provider and our direction. Thank you, Father, for being our great shepherd. You are a good God, and you've been so good and so faithful to us, and we want to be faithful to you, Lord. Thank you, God, for your blessings. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both. Commissioners, you have before you the minutes for May 23rd, 2024. The Chair will entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes if there are no additions, corrections, or revisions.
Move for the suspension of the reading of the minutes, adopt them as written.
Second.
All have a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So they're passed. We have a presentation from for the life of Myrna Jackson, a civil rights leader in Jefferson County.
Yes. Just acknowledgement only.
I'm sorry?
Just an acknowledgement only.
Acknowledgement only, okay.
For her funeral.
For the presentation, that will be done at a later time. Carry on now to public hearings. First is Red Mountain Retail Distribution Project. Doing business as Ashley Furniture. Everybody knows Ashley Furniture. Jeff, would you like to make that presentation? I think there is a maybe a pen and ink in that, Commissioner Knight.
Yeah, on paragraph 1, next to the last sentence, says the general revenue funds collected to mirror the Bessemer agreement. We're going to put a pen and ink, say the general fund collected in collaboration with the Bessemer agreement.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Before us today is a request for an incentive consideration for Red Mountain Retail, doing business as Ashley Furniture. Red Mountain Retail is the Ashley Furniture franchisor for North Alabama. They have 10 stores within their network. 3 of those are in the county. But they are currently located in Bessemer with a warehouse and their headquarters operations. That's where the point of purchase occurs for those 10 stores that they have in North Alabama. So those retail sales taxes come back to Jefferson County, city of Bessemer. They're at the point now to where they need to expand their operation and are looking at the construction of a new $10 million facility. Currently looking for a site to locate that. In an effort to retain them in the county, what we are proposing today is a sales tax rebate on the 1% general fund revenue from those sales. And yeah, that's it.
Now, when we talked about that, it seems that the tax abatement in the city of Bessemer would be much greater. Their 60-40 split of 4% is much greater than a 50% of 1%.
Yeah, so the city of Bessemer did pass a 50-50 tax split on their 4% sales tax rate. So right now they are putting in roughly about and I apologize, I know I sent you those numbers in an email yesterday, but we roughly have about a 3.33 to 1 incentive ratio compared to what they would rebate back and what we would rebate back. So they are participating at a lower split, but at a higher dollar value.
Lower split, 50, right,
Yeah,
right.
50%.
But a higher dollar amount because 3%, 4% is greater than 1%. I understand that. 3.3, okay, that's good. I did have a question because that we're going and breaking into sales tax, 1 cent, general sales. It will not affect the distribution to the Indigent Care Fund nor the Health Fund. This is coming from our 37% portion of the sales tax. Did I say that right? If I didn't, please correct me. So we are. This is post-split, not pre-split.
Out of health department.
So that's our 37%, except the 12% or whatever it is, 1.2 million that goes to the BJCC, $100,000 a year. Is it? Huh? $100,000. 1.2 million. It turns into $100,000 a month. Now all of this is statutory. All this is part of a legislative act that 1967 is where it started, and then it evolved again in 74, 76.
Well, this would be tied to the tax abatement law. This is Alabama Amendment
772, sure. Yeah, I'm thinking about our end of it, not their end of it.
Got you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. At this time, I'd like to open a public hearing on retail distribution project, Red Mountain Retail. This is a 772. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on the behalf of this? Any commissioner? Public hearing is now closed.
I move the item.
Second.
Item's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? I think we can do this by acclamation. Any opposition? Seeing none, it passed unanimously. Thank you very much.
And that's with the pen and ink.
That's with the penny, and thank you, Commissioner. Z240010. Applicant asked for this to be withdrawn.
That is correct.
So I'd like minutes to read that Z240010 has been withdrawn, and we will.
Do we have to do a public hearing?
No, if they ask for it to be withdrawn, I don't think we have to do it.
Do a public hearing?
I defer to the county attorney's office on that one. I don't.
Is anyone here on? We got people on 9. We got people on 18, and we have people on 19.
We didn't even make a sign-out sheet for case number 10 as we notified members of the community that it had been withdrawn. So.
Right.
Is there anyone here?
But we advertised for a public
We did
hearing. Do we have to open a public hearing and then address it that way?
It's safe to do it that way, yes, sir.
Pawnee Village Road. Anybody here to see Pawnee Village Road? All right, I'd like to open a public hearing on Z240010. Anyone here would like to address that? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. There is no action to be taken because the item was withdrawn. Now, Michael.
Yes, sir.
We got 9, Z240009.
Yes, sir. This is a request to go from A1 to RG for a 59-unit residential subdivision on 12.2 acres. This is out along Eastern Valley Road in the McCalla area. Here's the site plan. As you can see, it shows the primary access and then a secondary ingress-egress for fire service only, and that is to accommodate the International Fire Code requirement for a development of this size. In this particular area, you'll see that it lies south of the Cheshire Park subdivision, which has access off McAdory School Road, at 4 units per acre. The overall area around it is zoned A1, which is, again, just 1 dwelling unit per acre. And just to the west of it is Carroll Cove, which has a density of 1.96 units per acre. What is proposed is 5 dwelling units per acre at this particular site. We did take a look at the area road infrastructure, and based on the current level of service, the road could accommodate that, again, or could accommodate the development. And again, any sort of development would require a traffic study analysis done by, or reviewed and approved by our roads and transportation staff, and any improvements that would be included within that transportation analysis would be required upon the developer to install. Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval with some conditions that the architecture of the homes be in character with the surrounding neighborhoods, and that a privacy fence be installed along the south property line and to be maintained by an established homeowners association for the development. Looking back at it, staff has recommended some modified conditions. One, that a visual screening with buffering mechanisms shall be required along the south property line where adjacent to A1 zoning as compatible with topography and drainage. And then 2, that sidewalks be provided both internal to the development and along Eastern Valley Road, as this site is developed, as this site belongs in a location within the county that's identified on our bike and pedestrian plan, where we could increase the walkability primarily because of the school being in such proximity. Again, to go back, touch base on the recommendation on the first covenant, we found that in some instances that the installation of privacy fences can conflict with area drainage, and so we recommended the modified language just to give us some breathing room with that, just so we can accommodate the drainage in the area.
You know, one of my main concerns is the density. You know, you're looking at, you have houses there. We can't stop what's coming in the development. We do want it to be congruent with what's in the community, and the community is either A1, and where you have large lots, or you have the Rosser's Cove type subdivision that's there and has designated lots. Has there been any one to compromise or to see if they're going to put anything there?
We have had some discussions with developers since Tuesday's meeting. They're here if you have any questions regarding that. We did talk about possibly reducing some density, and they were going to go back and look at their numbers and everything else. So, but they're here today for presentation for you guys as well.
All right, let's go ahead and open a public.
Let me ask before we get public hearing, Ms. Morrison.
Yo.
You said the sidewalk installation will be on Eastern Valley Road?
Yeah, in front of the the developer's
And
side.
that would be on the developer?
That's correct.
Okay.
This time I'd like to open a public hearing for Z240009. Probably it would be appropriate for the developer to be the first to speak. Is the developer here? Yes, sir. Come on up, buddy. State your name, your address, and you can begin your request.
All right, thanks, sir. My name is Jason Wilson with TNC Construction, address 508 Mineral Trace, Hoover, Alabama, 35244.
Are you the developer or are you representing the developer?
I am the developer, yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
All right, so what we've have up here first to illustrate, so I can zoom this out just a hair, the file size, it's kind of got it zoomed in. This was the initial plat put together by our partners here with Insight Engineering, Mr. John Jett. We initially proposed 59 units here at 40-foot lot widths, which we believe is going to provide the most attainable housing for the projects and the developments that are going on in the area in terms of the economy with Smuckers, UAB West, as well as Amazon facilities opening up later this year. So again, just in that vein, trying to see how we can add the most value to the community and also attainable housing. So what we've done since this 59, which as Mr. Michael alluded to earlier, gets you just below 5 per acre. I think it's like 4.8, 4.9 per acre.
4.91.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So what we've done is we have reduced that slightly. So if I can zoom in on this a little bit with this rendering, and just in an effort again we're wanting to better the community. That really is our mission. how can we, provide attainable housing? How can we make the community better in some way, capacity? So you see here, we still have the secondary access, as Michael alluded to earlier, but we have put in a swimming pool facility there, as well as a clubhouse in the back. So we reduced the lots there by a few. And again, we also think this is going to increase property values. So when you look at Rosser Farms and some of the others that are comparable, going at $190 a square foot, some of these higher density products, I think D.R. Horton is doing that one, which we do maintain that we're going to develop a higher product or quality product, but and also going to get that higher price per square foot, which is going to increase local property values of existing homes. Per the suggestion there, we also put a couple inspiration plans. So what we're projecting to do are 1,500, 1,650, and 1,800 square foot floor plans. So we've kind of put some inspiration photos. It's not say exactly what it will look like, but this is in keeping with local architecture and kind of current style. Here again is the 1,650 floor plan, and here's the 1,800 square foot floor plan.
What is your goal to, I know you showed us a different variety of different size floor plans. What are you going to actually do? You're going to go, I would assume, the lower square footage, or are you going to put a mix?
All three, yes, sir.
Okay.
A mix, be dependent on what the demand is and what the local, the people want. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
What's your price point?
Price point, they'll start in the 280s and go up to about 342. So that's again that 190 a square foot target sale price. And again, that we actually have comps in here that have recently sold in some of these higher density neighborhoods that support that. And these are within 12 months. These are actual sales, not listings. And then we have a chart here that just kind of shows the increase in property value of a local neighborhood, Carroll Cove, there on the backside. I think they're around 127 to 135 a square foot right now, but you can see a trend in the actual sale price per home since 2020. With all the new construction going on in that area, there was some concern about property values decreasing with these smaller homes, but you can actually see the trend has been upward for the last 4 years. Okay. I think that addresses most of the things. I want to also talk about, we have 57, I think, homes that projected here now in this rendering. And there are a couple things that, we've talked about, the 1,000 feet of sanitary sewer that Jefferson County is asking that we put in along Eastern Valley Road. So that's additional costs for the horizontal development that we'll have to incur or absorb if we don't get assistance there. And then also sidewalks. And then the turning lane, you mentioned a traffic study, which will be conducted in conjunction with Jefferson County. But those types of things add into the horizontal development cost. So it also does kind of play into the number of homes that we could comfortably put to break even, put it that way. So,
Well, you go with the larger home and a larger lot, you have a higher price point, and it appears to be more congruent with what goes on in the neighborhood. What's the density over at Rosser's Cove and?
yes, sir. I think it's a similar zoning to this one. Do you know if Rosser Farms, I believe?
Yeah. Michael?
Yeah, I believe it's similar to this one as well as McCullough Trace.
4.91 houses per acre.
It's going to be something comparable to that.
Yep.
Both Rosser Farms as well as Ross Cove as well as Letson Farms right across the street.
What about Cheshire?
Cheshire to the rear of it, again,
That's adjacent to it.
Yeah, but it's on the other side. It's on McDowell School Road, isn't it?
Yeah, still it's right, but butts up to the back of it. It looks as about
it's about 4 per acre.
4.
So this 57 actually gets us down to around 4.7 per acre. At 57. But again, we're trying to think of the local economy. What's coming out there? At the end of this year, over the next year, what are they needing? They're needing housing, or so we believe. There's a big demand for that. Is it more housing and more attainable housing, or is it larger housing? I think the Vintage. I think there's a subdivision right down the road across from Carroll Cove entrance. It does have the larger, homes and larger lots. Is that where the demand is? We don't think so right now initially, but I think long term it may be. But right now, I think the demand is for this more attainable affordable house.
You selling these or renting?
Selling. Yes, sir. Always-
Willing to put that in the covenant?
Sure. Yes, sir. Of course. I think that was the main points we wanted to touch on, unless there are any other questions.
I'm good. All right, we had, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Of course.
Let's see where we had everyone lined up.
That one with the
And I had one that was full, Joe. Here it is right here. I had it right in front of me. All right, Celeste Harris, we'll begin with you. Are you here?
I'm here.
Come on up, Ms. Harris. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ms. Harris lives at 6229 Fieldbrook Circle, McCalla.
Yes, sir. Yes, I do. I live at 6229 at Carroll Cove. And I am here this morning because we are wanting or requesting that the homes that are at Carroll Cove are a much higher quality, and we really don't want, we're not trying to slow down any kind of growth in the McCalla area. We really want it to grow, but we're here representing Carroll Cove because we feel that the homes that are being built are going to actually lower our property values. I know that the cost of these homes, the sale of these homes has been given to us by the developer, and we've had some various amounts given to us even at our HOA meeting. So we just want to make it be known that we feel that with the homes that are being built, they are not going to increase our property values. They're actually going to decrease our property values. And we have some information here on the cost of the homes in the area going at between $350,000 and up to $500,000, and it's just not comparable. So we've been meeting and trying to pull together information so that we could show that the larger homes and the larger lots that we have in Carroll Cove are not represented here with the smaller homes. Even reducing it by 2 homes, it's not really going to, in my mind, increase the value of those homes. So I just wanted to be, on record to say that the traffic, the traffic that we're going to have on Eastern Valley Road and the cost of the homes that they're selling those homes for are not going to increase our property values. They will actually decrease it.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. Where is Carroll Cove in relation to this? I'm not.
It's right to the west. If you look here on the map,
There are
you
judges.
see the proposed, or the property in question that's outlined in black. It would be the property adjacent to the west that's in the yellow, that's in the R2 zoning designation.
And what is the average price value of the Carroll Cove?
Now, I don't have that information. Mr. Hasbury, our president of our HOA, is here with me. I'm actually the secretary, and he has the information on the square footage, if it's okay for him to come up and speak.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you can answer that question, that'd be great.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good
My
morning.
name is James Hasbury, address 6414 Cove Lane. I'm the HOA president of the Carroll Cove community. The information she's referencing, I did email it in to the sources that was on the notice, but I do have this information here. So what we have here, and I broke it down by editions. Okay, we have the first edition, which was built back in 2007. The average valuation on that is $385,939. The second edition, the average value on that is $441,284. The second edition, the second edition alone, they started another section there. It's $460,101. And the third edition, which they just finished here within the last year, it is $507,000, $484. And I do have some of the latest sales, the last 2 or 3 homes that were sold there. And I don't know if you guys can see this, 61 Woodbrook Lane, and this comes directly off the Jefferson County website. It was sold at $592,000, $592,900,000.
Let me ask a question.
Okay.
Those are not the houses that they're building. Those are the houses
these
that
houses
already
already
exist there.
That's where we live at, in our community.
Mm.
And there's another one for $539,850. And we also have one for $539,551. So those are the last 3 or 4 homes that they were sold out there in our community within the last year. So it's nowhere close to the valuation that the developer is proposing. We welcome
How
you, brother.
close are you to the development?
Well, a long ways off. Their highest bid.
I'm talking about distance.
Oh,
Yes, in distance.
Less than a half a mile. It backs up to our community property line. 3 of our neighbors are affected by this. In the Carroll Cove, it's like it's right there next to it. We welcome growth, but we want to
They're
add
all
to.
Eastern Valley Road. These folks are concerned. Let me speak loud because she asked me a question. I said, these folks are here because they're worried about this lower price break harming the value of their homes. And that was really my main concern too, because we wanted everything to be congruent there and have everything to try to maintain the best we can on the way it is, and have growth to come in also, because we know we're not going to be able to stop growth.
Correct.
But you want an orderly type growth that your neighbors' houses are going to look like yours. Is that kind of like where we are?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, that's how
So
it's
do the
done.
developer, this is a question for the developer. Did you know that before you decided to build and buy the property over there to develop? Were you aware of the difference in the prices of the houses you're building and the ones that already exist there?
Yes, ma'am. There are 3 similar developments to this one currently being built. Yes, ma'am.
And y'all know they are cheaper houses?
No, ma'am, they're not. It's actually this statement there. These houses are higher per square foot than the houses they're talking about. And they actually have the same zoning and Carroll Code of RG. So we're at 190 a square foot. They're averaging 130 a square foot. That's what I showed on that graph there, is that we're actually increasing property values in Carroll Code by these developments by square foot cost. So we're selling at 342. They've got houses in Carroll Code selling at 318. I mean, we're actually increasing these property values. And we're also consistent and congruent with local developments that are the same zoning and style. So we're trying to increase their property values, and we are. And that's what that chart on the last page I showed there, is how their prices are actually increasing. So they are at $450, $500, per house now, because of all the local development, even these smaller houses, because they're bringing up the price per square foot. So they were at, let's say, 110 a couple years ago, then it was 115, 125, now they're at the 130s, because of all these developments, and these houses being. That's what it's kind of a misunderstanding of those that aren't in real estate.
Who's the builder? Who will be the builder? Myself. Okay. Okay.
So you're developer and builder.
So have y'all heard what he said, and y'all are not agreeing with what he said?
We totally disagree with those statements based on the facts of what I just showed you. Some of the homes that they have built in other areas, like what he's talking about, we had a mediation meeting about a week ago at our last board meeting, and he quoted some homes, other areas in the Birmingham area where they have projects going, I guess. Smith Farms, Shays Run, and Valley Villa in Irondale. The other two operations is in Hoover. All those homes are pricing out, but the square footage of the lots starts at 2,500 and up. So he's correct if he's talking about those, but he's incorrect if he's talking about these 1,500 square foot units.
So the area that you're building in,
Let him talk.
no, it's going to dictate.
Just let him talk. You get a chance in a minute.
Okay, as I was saying, those homes in that area, in those areas, and they're surrounded by higher value homes, $1 million homes, up to $700,000-800,000. So when you put even maybe a 1,500 square foot home in an area like that, you can price it out like that. So what we're asking, what's pricing out in our area, is what we have built, what we have sold. So we want to kind of keep that. And by the way, our zoning, I think, is R1 for all the areas, for Venice Trace, Carroll Cove, and Chelsea Park. So also we have a petition, 76 signatures, and we also have people that lives on the Eastern Valley Road there here to represent today.
Thank you. All right, let's for time's sake, let's move on. I think you point well taken. Let's go with Tim George, Eastern Valley Road.
Thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you this morning. I do own the home at 4935 Eastern Valley Road. I don't live there. We rent out that home. It's kind of a homestead of sorts for me and my wife. It's where our kids were born and raised. But I kind of concur with the against agreements. I read the file. I didn't make it to the last meeting. I didn't receive notice until after the meeting was held. But I do concur with most of the against comments. I think the density is just too great. So bigger lots would definitely be more pleasing, to me. But like you said, progress is going to happen, and we're all for McCalla being built up and having more progress. So with that being said, I do have a couple of comments along those lines. So as this progresses, I've seen plans for a fence, a privacy fence along the south side. There's no mention of any type of privacy fencing to the east, which is where my property would be. And I have had problems in the past with some vandalism. I think probably school-age kids or stuff coming on my property and, breaking out windows and stuff like that. But a privacy fence would certainly be somewhat of a deterrent, to keep people from coming onto my property there on the east side. And so I would certainly welcome that. And in addition, just from prior experience when the middle school was built and we went through this process and privacy fence was put up at that time, we were given assurances that fence would be maintained. It just wasn't. As panels broke, it just was never repaired. So I'd like to just stress that, whatever is built should have plans for maintenance. And, if fence panels are broken out, that they'd be replaced, and that wouldn't be at the cost of, the property owner that's adjacent to the development. Also, just a side note, I'm a professional civil engineer, and so, the way the fence is constructed, it matters, and there's really no details in the record on how they plan to construct this fence. And just as an example, if they were to use 6x6 posts instead of 4x4.
Hang on a second.
Sir.
Let me just clarify something with our staff. I thought we were not going to build a fence. I thought that was taken
Yes,
out.
sir, that is the staff recommendation.
Okay,
Correct.
okay.
Again, that just has to do with these fences that we've had issues with drainage problems.
Yeah.
Due to the installation of these privacy fences.
Right.
All right, the drainage problems, well, excuse me just a second. Mr. Jordan. Drainage problems, what type of storm water is, containment is he,
Oh, they have they're proposing a drainage pond on the property at the rear, which is sort of, and if you'll see the contours, that the way that the water will be flowing is going right back in that direction with.
Where does it go to?
Where's the pond?
It's at the rear. It says, yeah, it says pond.
similar to Rosser's Cove?
I thought that's where
I'm
the
not
pool's
familiar
going
with
to be. Is that the same? The pond, the pool, same thing?
No. No, the pond is, it actually says pond right there in the very rear.
I can't see it. Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
Okay. I was asking about where I don't know that I got my answer, but I'll look and get it.
Yes, sir. Just looking at the drainage contours, Commissioner, it seems that, there wouldn't be the same drainage issues putting a privacy fence up to the east as you would experience on the south side. And I do have concerns about teenagers coming onto my property. I have an old barn that's on the property. It's not really safe for anyone to be going into and playing around.
How large your lot?
My lot's 1.5 acres.
1.5 acres?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so you're saying this would increase the chances of somebody coming on your property?
Yes, sir, I believe it would. After the ball fields were built associated with the middle school, as ball games are being played and you got small, younger kids that aren't participating in the games, they come over onto my property. They're curious. They're just kids. So I'm sure the development would have lots of kids as well, and, they would likely venture over onto my property. I wouldn't want them to get hurt.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Anyone else wish to speak to this issue? Yes, sir.
My name is Willard Langston. I live next door to this project. And I wanted
What's your address, sir?
a nice quality fence between my place and theirs because we're already having
next door to the project.
a bunch of young kids coming out. I got nothing against them, but they've been in our barn and our shed and stuff. So anyway, I'm more concerned about where these people's going to have their kids go to. There's no park plan in this that I can tell for them to have a place to run and play, And on top of that, behind their, I guess it's the north side, there's a 50-foot drop-off where they've removed the dirt out to fill in the housing project below us to get the water out of the swamp. And anyway, on top of that, there's a sinkhole on their property, and I don't know if they even know about that. I don't know what the situation's going to be about handling that, but anyway, the other thing I worry about is we're having trouble getting out our driveway now, and if you put another 59 houses in the morning, them people ain't gonna get out for an hour, because you got a school, a church, a light at the shopping center. It's just a mess right now without putting 59 more houses in there for us to live with, for them to make money, and I just don't think it's a good idea to have that many houses put in there. I don't know how they're going to handle the traffic problem, which we already have. In the mornings, the traffic is backed up for almost a quarter of a mile because of the school and the shopping center traffic. And if we go with all these houses, it's going to make it that more hard to live with. Anyway, that's all I got to say, Jim.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Chair will entertain a recommendation. I'm sorry, I did not hear what you said.
I'm just asking if you want us to address any of the concerns of the opposition.
No, I was wrapping up the public hearing, but I could, if you would like to do a rebuttal, I am 100% willing to listen. Yeah. Okay. Like to reopen the public hearing for a rebuttal, and this will close the public hearing. Come on, Bob.
Thanks, sir. I was going to ask if it's okay if I bring Mr. Jerry Sager, our real estate broker for this project, up as well?
You can bring him up, but he's yours. You know, that's the.
Yes, sir.
Had we gotten someone that was independent, he would carry more weight.
Okay.
Fair
Understood.
enough.
But we really want to articulate how the property values of the surrounding homes are going to increase as a result of these properties. And I also wanted to, we're going after or trying to get the RG zoning here. There is actually in Carroll Cove, the opposition spoke quite clearly today, there is actually RG zoning in Carroll Cove. And as well as, the property values over there in, was it Cheshire? Cheshire, just right there adjacent to as well, where properties are selling for $310. We're selling for $342. We really just want to illustrate that even though the properties are selling overall at a lower price, the price per square foot is higher. That's going to increase the values in the Carroll Cove. Jerry, do you mind coming up and helping kind of explain a little bit of that real quick? And in terms of the fence, whatever the recommendation of the staff is, we're just here to work with Jefferson County, whatever we need to do to make this happen, whatever's best. So we'll do that as drainage allows.
So the gentleman that spoke about the price point, the sales price point at Carroll Cove, he's correct in that they do have a higher price for overall sales, but their dollar per square foot that they get, which is what an appraiser is going to look at, is much lower than any of these others that are being built. The average dollar per square foot that's sold in Carroll Cove is in the 120s to 130s. We're looking at building in the 180s, and that's what's pretty standard of these other new developments that have come in. If you look at Rosser Farms, McCullough Trace, all of these are being sold at around the $180 to $190 per square foot. So you can build a large home. It doesn't mean that it's of the same quality. If they were getting the same dollar per square foot, then instead of $500,000, those homes would be worth $700,000. But they're not built with the same quality, so their dollar per square foot is much less. That's what really makes the difference, and that's what even in Carroll Cove.
Well, isn't that a reflection of the economy, sir?
No, Carroll Cove in the last 4 years, they've had a property increase of 75%. The average in McCullough has been around 69%. So Carroll Cove has seen a nice increase, and that's with these other new developments that have come in around them. So this is going to bring their property value. New construction and new development is always going to bring up property values, especially the construction that he builds is going to be a higher quality than what has been built in there by the other couple builders who currently build in those neighborhoods. It's going to bring in, you're probably looking at $120,000 or more annual tax revenue for the city. You're going to have 59 homes with 100 people or more living there. That's going to support the restaurants, the retail, the tax base, everything for that community. It's more than just about those specific homes, but the overall premise that these homes are going to lower the value just because the sales price is the same, that doesn't impact anything. An appraiser always looks at dollar per square foot.
And then if you compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges,
right?
I understand exactly what you're talking about, but an apple and an orange are both fruits, but they taste different, don't they?
Yeah,
they both do. And if you're looking at the price per square foot as a comparison, I'll give you an analogy. I have a storage facility, and I get more per square foot for a 5 by 10 than I do a 10 by 20. Same facility, same amenities, same everything. That's just part of how it works. The smaller the unit, the higher cost per square foot, the higher you have to get to be able to have a return on your dollar, because it costs so much to build it. So I understand what you're saying, and I just have to take a different view of your cost per square foot. So
Even if you look at a recent home in Carroll Cove.
I can look at all of them, but I'm with you.
Yeah, there's around 1,900 square foot. You know, they got $159 a foot. So that's an older home also, not a new construction.
And you have to consider that also.
That particular home, actually, if you look at what did new construction do to this older home that was here, this particular home was at 6375 Cove Lane. It was built in 2008. So that home sold in February of 2019 for $220,000, and it recently sold in February of 2024 for $318,000. So it went up $100,000. And that's
Someone flipped it.
No.
Someone.
That's just the increase in values.
Okay.
It sold 2 or 3 more times. It sold for $220. A couple years later, it sold for $300. Then it went for $320. But that's just what all of this new development that's happened in McCalla has done for this neighborhood and for all the other neighbors who live in that general area. That's why this new hospital is coming in. All those people are going to need places to live, and affordability is a real key for those workers.
I understand. We need to move on. We have several cases here today. Now, I will add, Michael.
Commissioner, yes, sir. We just need to get his name and address for the record.
All right. For the real estate broker.
Jerry Sager. My address is 2805 Black Ridge Way, Hoover, Alabama, 35244.
Okay, thank you. Now, we have fulfilled our obligation to have a public hearing. Do you want to go back and talk with your neighbors and negotiate this a little bit more and bring this back to the commission, or do you want us to act on it now?
Well, I think it's best. And honestly, like they mentioned, I did meet with them last week, and I met with them a few times before. Yeah, perhaps that is best. We want to do what's best for the community. If they want whatever they want, that's what we want to try to bring to them and add value. So if that's what it means, then yes. I mean, certainly. That's what we want. We want to meet with the community again if that's an option, and see, is there some kind of compromise or something? What would make sense in this development? Now, like I said, I think if we get below, we can add green space. And I heard Mr. Butch mention, there's nowhere for the kids to play. So if you took they had pool in the clubhouse, and we add another green space for playgrounds, a couple more lots out, certainly. Yeah. I think, again, with the horizontal costs, with the sanitary sewer going out that we're going to put in for future developments, not just for us to be able to use, and some of the other things we're having to put into this, we can only drop down to a certain amount of lots.
I understand that.
We'll make them wider, for sure. I mean, they don't have to be 40-foot lot widths. We can make the lots wider, up to like 48 feet wide.
Yeah.
And put a little bit bigger homes on there. Love to.
That might be a good idea to maybe try to work out, because, we see a lot of these developments here lately.
Yes, sir.
And they're all condensed. The people around them have existing neighborhoods with a little space.
Right.
And then when these come in and you put a 4.75 is way tight. That's on top of each other. Yeah. If you're in your kitchen and you say, "Hey, honey, come here," you're going to get answers from both sides of your neighbors.
I understand.
I would, if I were you, I would go meet with your folks again.
We certainly do that. I'd love to do that. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I think that's when you had that many people that signed that petition, and everyone, the folks that have spoken, are you amenable to that? Can you go back and meet with them and try to come up with a good compromise? Because we all understand that growth is going to come, but we do want it to come and everyone be satisfied.
Yes, sir.
and say, hey, and be proud of it.
Sure.
Is the bottom line, is to be proud of our neighbors and be able to be good neighbors.
Absolutely. We want the same.
It's okay, that'll be great.
I
Public
would-
hearing is now closed.
And Michael, Mr. Morrison, I would also make certain on this fence issue. I mean, I think there was some concerns that there wouldn't be a fence, and now.
This was on his area, the south section, right?
Okay, well,
It
just
was
clear
just
it up.
recommended along the south, and again, that's
Yeah.
where there was a
Well,
natural drainage.
okay, yeah.
He was talking about on the opposite side.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, date and time certain, Michael, for us to act on it. You want to give 3 months? 3 months enough to do this? 2 months? Tell me how long you want.
I think 1 month. I think 30 days is all we need.
30 days, we will act upon this. Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
To
Delay.
to
Put it
Two-
over to, what's that, what would be that date?
Celeste, is that good with y'all?
we'll put it over to the first meeting in July. I have a motion to that effect.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. So the public hearing is had. You come back with a compromise, and please present that compromise to Mr. Morrison about a week before, and then we will act on it at that time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate everyone's participation in this. I hope we come up with a good solution for everyone.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir, for.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate everyone's cooperation on that. We'll give everyone a chance to go back, because this is the one that.
Thank you, sir, again, for working with those neighbors. I appreciate that.
You're not going to stay here the rest of it?
Probably heard enough.
All right, Michael.
All right, what else juicy we got here?
All right, the next case is Z-24-0015. This is located at 114 Burks Lane in Mount Olive. This is a request to go from A1 to I1 for an expansion of an existing business. The business itself does sales of ATVs, trailers, when I say utility trailers, and they wish to construct an office on the property on the rear where they've purchased this acreage tract, and it is sort of against residential zoning, and that's why the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval with a 6-foot privacy fence to be installed along the western property boundary. We're adjacent to existing R4 zoning. Again, staff is recommending a modification of that particular condition with visual screening with buffering mechanisms be installed along the western property boundary. We're adjacent to residential zoning as compatible with area topography and drainage. Again, that's just to account for, again, issues that we've had in the past where we've required installation of privacy fences that have resulted in some drainage problems. Again, this is compliant with the county's land use plan for this area.
Like to open a public hearing on Z-24-0015. Does anyone like to speak on behalf of this or in opposition to this? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed.
Move the item.
Item's been moved, seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Michael.
All right, the next request, and this was also had a corresponding subdivision and variance request. This is a church property, and as you can see, it had a parsonage on the church property, and this is we've seen several cases like this in previous months, where the church is selling off the old parsonage just for residential use, and in order to do so, they've requested this change of zoning from institutional 1 to A1, which is the same as the area zoning that's all around it. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval.
Open a public hearing, Z-24-0016. Anyone want to speak on this matter? For or against? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed.
Move the item.
Second.
Item's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carried unanimously. Okay, Michael.
Yes, sir. The next case is Z-24-0018. This is a request to align zoning with a proposed subdivision. The subdivision was recommended approval at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. What they're doing in this particular instance is just a small minor land swap between a church property and an adjacent property that's zoned A1. And this is to accommodate a parking lot expansion and also to provide for an access to more Cemetery Road for the proposed Lot 1B. And the image on the screen will sort of indicate the nature of the land swap itself. But again, this would just align the zoning with the proposed new lot lines.
I'd like to open a public hearing on Z 240018. Anyone wish to speak to this?
Are you for or against?
He's for.
Well, then, you way ahead.
Until you speak. All right. Seeing no participation, public hearing is now closed.
Move the item.
Second.
Item's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? You're passed. We should have done the first one last, shouldn't we? All right, Michael.
Yes, so this next case is Z-24-0019. This is at 1661 Arkadelphia Road in Warrior. This is a 1 acre tract, or just over 1 acre tract, that they're proposing to rezone for commercial use. I believe it is a contractor or HVAC contractor or something along those lines, just to have an office there, and they're requesting the C1 zoning. This area is very close to the Blount County line, and just across the Blount County line, there is some commercial development that's right there. And so this doesn't conflict necessarily with the policies of the land use plan of the area, which calls for rural growth. In this particular instance, the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval.
I'd like to open a public hearing, Z240019. Is there anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor of or in opposition to this particular issue? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed.
I'm going to move the item, making sure, though, that it is a heat and air company, not anything else. That's good.
He said yes. That is. Moved, seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There you go, buddy. You good. Go do some business.
Right.
And the last but not least, Z240020.
Yes, sir. This is a request to go from RG, which is garden home zoning, to A1 agriculture. This is located at 2040 Sadlertown Road in Bessemer. As you'll see on the screen, this is the aerial image of the site. You'll notice this property is just to the northeast of an existing subdivision. This property was zoned RG as part of the overall or continued development or growth of that particular subdivision that never came into fruition, and thus it still just retains that RG zoning. All around it in the city of Bessemer, it has a residential zoning classification. What has happened is this property has switched hands, and the new property owner has placed some goats and some cows on the property that have caused some disturbance. In fact, this case is a result of a zoning violation that we've investigated on the property itself. As they've provided some pictures, we've included that with the report, so we got that to you the other day. But these are some examples of what the neighbors are having issues with within the garden home development. This did go before Planning and Zoning Commission in citing the fact that there's no adjacent agricultural zoning in the area, and that this is something that the area residents of the garden home development wouldn't be expecting based on the current zoning. The Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend denial of this particular request.
All right, I'd like to open a public hearing on Z240020. Is the applicant here? Do you wish to speak on that? Please.
Good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name is Juan Manuel del Toro, and I am the property owner and applicant to 2040 Sadlertown Road, and the case number is Z240020. And I am here today to request the change of zoning for my property from RG single family to A1 agriculture for the purpose of keeping livestock. I would like to begin by outlining the benefits and intentions behind the request. My family and I have maintained this property with great care and diligence.
For how long?
For like a year and a half. And we have a strong commitment to our community and believe that the use of our land can provide significant benefits to our neighbors and the local environment. Our farm animals are more than just livestock. They are an integral part of our lives and contribute positively to the well-being of those around us. Many studies have shown that interactions with animals can have therapeutic benefits, improving mental health and reducing stress. Residents in our community have experienced these benefits firsthand, and we have received positive feedback from neighbors who appreciate the peaceful presence of our animals. Moreover, our animals offer unique educational opportunities to local children, and residents often visit our property to learn about animal care, agriculture, and the environment. These hands-on experiences foster a deeper understanding and connection to nature, which is increasingly valuable in our urbanizing world. By allowing us to keep our animals, you are supporting an informal yet impactful educational resource for our community. And regarding to the zoning laws, I want to emphasize that our request for a A1 zoning is in full compliance with local regulations. Our property, spanning over 14.61 acres, is well suited for agricultural use. The current RG zoning restricts us from utilizing the land to its full potential. By changing the zoning to A1, we can legally and responsibly continue to keep our animals, enhancing the value and utility of the land. And in support of our application, I do have some cases that are relevant to this. And the first one is Smith v. Town of Notasulga, where the court acknowledged the appropriateness of rezoning large parcels of land for agriculture purposes when such a change aligns with the intended use of the land that benefits the community. And the second one I have is the City of Birmingham v. Goldsby, which highlights the importance of considering the suitability of the land of the proposed zoning change. The court recognized that large tracts of land are often better suited for agricultural use, and rezoning can support the best use of the land in question. And these precedents reinforce that our request is both lawful and appropriate, reflecting a well-considered use of the property and alignment with its size and potential for agricultural activities. I understand that some neighbors may have concerns and potential noise or sanitation issues about potential noise and sanitation issues. However, I assure you that we take these concerns very seriously. We maintain strict standards of cleanliness and noise control. Our animals are kept in a well-maintained enclosures, and we implement daily routines to ensure their environment is clean and orderly. We use proper waste management practices to prevent any negative impact on the surrounding areas. Furthermore, our animals are supervised daily, and they do not leave our property. We have made significant investments in fencing and other measures to ensure they remain contained and do not cause any disturbances. Unlike some other issues in the neighborhood, such as the persistent odor of marijuana, our animals do not engage in any harmful behavior. They do not smoke, steal, or cause any disturbances.
Somebody out there doing it.
In fact,
somebody out there smoking.
I don't think it's best.
It ain't the cow.
In fact, they are often a source of joy and curiosity to local children who come and visit and learn about them. Our quest is also about preserving the tradition of harmony between the urban living and nature. This area has a history of agriculture use, and we believe by continuing this tradition can enhance the local environment and community spirit. By maintaining our animals on this land, we are upholding a balance that benefits all residents. We are committed to being good neighbors and ensuring that our use of the property does not negatively impact anyone. Additionally, Maintaining livestock on the property contributes to sustainable use of the land. Properly managed agricultural land can enhance soil health, promote biodiversity, and contribute to local food production. Our practices are designed to be environmentally friendly and sustainable, ensuring that the land remains productive and healthy for the future generations. In conclusion, I respectfully request that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve of our application for rezoning to A1. By doing so, you will allow us to continue providing therapeutic, educational, and environmental benefits for our community. Our commitment to maintaining high standards of cleanliness and noise control, along with the legal precedents supporting our case, make this reasonable and a beneficial request. Thank you for your time and consideration.
How many animals do you have?
At the moment, we don't have that many. He only has 4.
Tell me what they are.
3 female calves and 1 little bull.
Oh, but he gonna be busy, ain't it?
No goats?
No goats anymore.
No goats.
And no goats?
We got rid of
No
them.
matter how well it is.
But
You got rid of the goats?
yeah, we got rid of them.
Are you planning on increasing your herd?
Maybe just a few more, but not too many.
I mean, do you sell them for market?
It's just for us, and here I have my grandma, and so we do it mainly for her because we just brought her from Mexico, and she goes every morning to milk her to get a cup of milk, and that's what she likes to drink in the morning. So we drive her over there to the farm, and she milks it herself actually, and that's what that's why we got this land, to put them animals in there, because in Mexico they could never get that, but over here my dad was able to do it for her, so she enjoys that, and she's 92 years old.
What do you do for a living?
My dad, he actually has rental homes. He has almost around 30 properties.
Okay, what do you do?
Me, I do HVAC.
You do HVAC, and he has rental property.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Do you reside on the property? Does anybody reside on the property?
do you live there?
No, we don't live there.
Is it a house over there?
It's just
We would
where
like
you.
we would like to build one on in the future, but that's later on. But at the moment, there is a barn there.
It's part of that subdivision that they built there. Do you remember where we went for the Habitat for Humanity homes?
Mm-hmm.
All that on the right where they're building. This was before you get there. It's Green Road, and there's an RG subdivision that goes there, and this property backs up to that. So, give you the understanding of where it is. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Do we have any opposition to this? Yes, please.
Good morning. My name is Alicia Phillips. I am the HOA president for the Windsor Park Colonnade. While I do respectfully appreciate the benefits that he was speaking for themselves, however, it has been nothing but the opposite from what he spoke on. Windsor Park, I heard in the pre-commission meeting Tuesday, it was asked if that was Windsor Park. So Windsor Park has 2 subdivisions. There's an estate side and then there's a colonnade side. And so the colonnade is what's backed up to the farm. So the divisions were there first. I purchased my home in 2021, and we noticed in fall of 2022 or so of someone building something behind our homes. And it appeared at the time, we thought it was going to be a house. But later on, we noticed that it was a shed, and that's the shed that he speaks of. It's a fairly large shed that you can see from the upper part of your home. And later on, in the spring of 2023, we noticed where they started putting the wire fence here, lining up against the property line of our homes. And shortly after is when we started seeing the animals. If in fact the goats have been removed, those were the ones that were initially first there. They have gotten out into the community. Several people had to restrain them at some point to hold on to them until they were able to reach an owner in order to come and retrieve them from their property. They've gotten out several times. They have been on top of the wooden fence on the other end of our property. If there are kids in the yard and when they get as close as you can see to the fence, is not safe. Although they may not have harmed anyone, that doesn't mean that won't happen in the future. When the summer is extremely hot, the smell from the manure, it is beyond horrible. There's no peace or sanity what you can have in the comfort of your own home. So in addition to having these animals behind, that does, in fact, will lower our property value. If this farm was there before people purchase home, that gives them the choice to, if they wanted to purchase there, knowing that was there. The fact that it came afterwards, it is really devalues our property. And there's a home now on the Colony side that has been up for sale for quite a few months. And speaking to a resident, we feel this is part of one of the issues why no one has actually gone up and that home has sold just yet. Outside of the property value, is just, it's becoming a nuisance, to be honest. No one wants to wake up this close to the smell, the sounds of everything from having this in our backyard. Although the benefits, as how he explained, are great, however, that's benefits for him. That's not for the residents who have the homes there. And so we respectfully, we had a petition that we did email in to Mr. Willie Brown Pryor before the Planning and Zoning Committee for those residents who are against this. So I'm not sure if that was presented to you or not, but we can re-email that back if need be. But there are quite a few who are against having this farm behind our community. Yeah. And there are others here who, if they wanted to speak to that too as well.
I think the point's been well taken. Okay. The applicant does not live on that property.
No, from what we've been told, really that particular land, I think that's one of the reasons why the previous builder did not go back, because it had something to do, I think, with the underground piping or so, and only maybe one home or something could be built on that land. So that was one of the reasons, from our understanding, why they didn't continue to go onto those 14.4 acres of land. So although originally it was all zoned for residential, trying to make it agricultural now with those conditions, no. So there is no home on that property whatsoever, just the shed that they initially built. And it appears to be another shed, I think, on the further end of that land too as well.
Okay, thank you. You know, we try on the commission to try to meet everyone halfway in what we do. In this case, it's going to be very difficult because the houses preceded the agricultural moving in. The only compromise that I would think that would be available would be a large buffer zone and move the fence back. I do not know that that's feasible or not. With planted vegetation where you could not see the animals, you don't want to deprive anyone the use of their property. But they knew it was RG zone when they moved in, so we don't want to hurt them. But I don't know of any other way that. They are illegal. They have been cited for that. And I understand that they enjoy those animals, and I don't know where they live. But let me ask that because I haven't closed the public hearing yet. Where do you live?
We live like maybe 5 minutes away from there.
Where do you live?
632 Delta Street, Bessemer.
You live in Delta Street, okay, over on Eastern Valley. Yeah. Okay, both of you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're down Sparks Gap Road to Hopewell Road to Green Road, and that's where you are. Okay. All right.
How close is that to this property? I don't know.
Our house?
Yeah. 2.5 miles.
5, 6 minutes.
2.5 miles. Okay. It's over by the bingo halls. You play bingo? Oh yeah, okay. That's where they are. They're over there by the bingo hall. All right. Anyone else want to speak to that? Yes, sir.
My name is Gary Brown. I live adjacent to the property on Sadlertown Road. And they have been good neighbors. They've taken good care of the property and put a lot of fencing up and whatnot. And I have no problem whatsoever with animals. I have not had any problem with the smell or the noise or anything. And that's basically what I want to say.
Appreciate it.
But that property there was some signs put on that property before they bought it. It was under some kind of conservation program. I don't know exactly what it was. But I heard you couldn't build a subdivision on it, is what I heard.
Thank you. You know, the compromise that I, as a commissioner, would be willing to hear would be a large buffer zone with planted vegetation. But I don't, I don't know that that's doable, or whether that's something that these folks would do. The subdivision was there first, and they knew it was there, and they knew that it was not zoned agriculture. I would like to know what type of conservation easement that it has, or Michael, do you know anything about that?
Yes, sir. From shortly after the crash of 2007, or the recession of 2007, rather, I believe that the property owner, the developer of the subdivision itself, placed that in a conservation easement, probably for tax purposes. And since then, it's been conveyed, I want to say a couple of times, with that easement on it. And that conservation easement does speak to use of the property for agricultural purposes. Now, all that is contrary to what the property is zoned, and nothing was done to change the zoning of the property itself. So it's always retained its RG.
So you've really changed something, though, because these people bought that with the understanding the intent that it was under conservation.
Well, but again, because the county and the governance of the zoning had no knowledge of that.
Okay.
And so, I mean, the zoning never changed.
But again, these folks here had no knowledge of that either.
Well, again, that's correct. But again, that's something that would have to be taken up between those two private parties. The government is not a party to that particular action.
Yeah.
How often do you see the cows like depicted in these pictures? At the fence? Out of that 15 acres, they come stand behind your house? Yeah. Well, this is a tough one.
Yeah. You want to help with the understanding, but. Ma'am? Yes, ma'am, please. State your name and your address.
Okay.
My name is Shauna Saunders. I live at 3475 Misty Hollow Drive. And some of the things that he did bring up, I was not aware of, as far as, like, I did not know that there was any type of children being educated or anything like that going on. That's the first that I've heard of anything of that nature. Everybody is entitled to their own, what they want to do with their houses and things like that, but I myself would not have purchased a home behind a farm. I did not expect to live behind animals. As I didn't want to take up your time for something that someone has already said, but
Right.
the noise, the smell, is this going to lower my property value? What is this going to do in the long run for me? I realized he bought the land for like $50,000. My house was $280,000. I'm concerned about me in my house. It is unfortunate what happened to him, but did his realtor let him know that this was not, like he couldn't just come and put animals on the property? When we saw the fence going up, I was like, has this land been surveyed to see where the fence even goes? Because when I saw them out there, I was like, he just waved hi and was like, is this okay? And I'm like, I don't know if that's okay. What you're, it just seems like there was a lot of maybe things weren't understood on their end,
Sure.
on their side.
Thank you. All right, public hearing is now closed. Chair will entertain a motion.
So so we're voting to
Either approve or deny.
to get rid of the animals.
We're voting to approve his application to zone it agricultural, yes.
Do a roll call vote.
You gotta make a motion.
Oh, yeah, you
motion.
gotta have,
I vote to deny.
all right, we have a motion to deny. I don't want to, but I will. I'll second that. And we have a motion, a second to deny. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We did something very reluctantly then because the law required to protect the property rights of these people who lived there before you did. That's not saying that we're not sympathetic with what you're attempting to do and that you have not much choice to do anything different with that property unless you make it into a park or something like that. And I wish there was something else we could say, but
Let me ask this. Is there any way, if you only have 4 cows, can you keep them in a smaller area away from everybody?
it goes back to the buffer I talked about.
That's what I'm
Well,
not. I wouldn't want to walk out and see that in my backyard, sir.
Yeah, and
I think, and I wouldn't want to have the smell, even though I've got kind of conflicting testimony on there is smell, and I've never smelled it. So
it'll be different if they bought the property knowing animals over there, like this lady said.
yeah, I agree.
And I'm dealing with it in the city, so
You got cows?
cows, chickens, and goats all on my porch hatching eggs. So no,
On your porch?
on my
eggs.
porch hatching eggs.
Wait a second. The commission has voted, but if I could encourage you, both, if there is some type of compromise where you give them a 100-foot buffer and plant it and put another fence,
Or barbed wire.
behind that, to where that buffer will do nothing but grow up, okay? And they cannot see or hear your animals. This commission would be able to re-entertain that. But it's going to be up to getting along with your neighbors and doing something that will make them feel comfortable with having you there as that neighbor. And the chair, we will get a chance to look at that again, if and so. But would y'all work with him, and if indeed if it will, look and see what it would look like? If not, it stands right now as it's been denied. Okay.
Is your neighborhood fully developed?
Yes. It was fully developed even before they purchased it.
Okay, well, maybe the next time we'll see you with another 5 house per acre development coming behind you next, but.
Because that young bull finna make some babies.
So just for understanding and clarity from this meeting, is their request denied?
Their request is denied.
So with this, what does that mean for them? Do they have to remove the animal, or
Or be subject to fines?
Yeah.
and what's that time frame?
You'd have to ask.
As it stands today, because this is put on stay because they actually applied for rezoning or remedy the situation. The second they go back under violation, they would fall under the same 2-week time span, 2 weeks, then a certified letter, and then we file for a warrant for them.
And they can appeal to circuit court too.
Right.
Sir?
They can appeal it.
They can appeal this to circuit court.
They have that right.
So 2 weeks from today, they will get a violation.
Well, like I said, is the next go-around that we have out in that area, we would, if they're still out there, they would be cited, and it would start this up.
So I guess I'm asking, what is that time?
Again, 2 weeks, and then we go and revisit. Well, again, it'll be 2 weeks from when the observation, when it observed visit violation. So whatever staff can have. We'll be without there within a certain time frame. Yes. Forgive me, I've got a very limited staff right now, but I'll put them on notice that we need to go check this and restart the complaint process.
And he does have the opportunity to appeal to circuit court.
And that is correct. And if it's appealed,
And then at that time, everything will be put on stay until that occurred or didn't occur. 30 days, is that what it is, Shauna?
I think Mr. Contreras.
there's actually no statute of limitations on zoning cases. So they can
Okay.
file at any time.
Okay. Yes, sir.
You'll receive via email. You receive the letter of the denial with the resolution of the county commission. It takes us about a week to get that put together because of the way that the structure of the minute book is. But you've been informed today, so I mean, we were all here. But yes, there will be a letter that's uploaded along with the corresponding resolution of the county commission.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Everything clear now? Okay.
I wish we had a better turnout
I wish.
than what it was.
We had resolutions 1 through 48 that were properly vetted in our pre-committee commission meeting. Is it? Those 48 have 40? Yeah, they're 40. 40. I get my glasses on. There are 40 resolutions that were properly vetted, and we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Commissioners, we have
For order of new business.
one item of new business, which is an emergency repair. It will require unanimous consent. Would you please call the roll for one item of new business?
Well, I've got a motion, we got a second.
We do.
Okay.
Commissioner Bowden, Commissioner Knight,
Aye.
Commissioner Scales, Commissioner Tyson,
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens.
Yes. Well, the motion for the one item of new business, whereas Mel Bailey Criminal Justice Center is a multi-story building that's had some bricks fall off of it.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Bowden, Commissioner Knight,
Aye.
Commissioner Scales, Commissioner Tyson,
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens.
Yes. All right. That brings us to the end of our meeting. Do we have anything from the legal department? Anything from county manager? Surely we don't have anything from the commission.
Miss Myrna Jackson.
Go ahead.
Our funeral will be held Saturday at 16th Street at 1 o'clock. She's one of the civil rights legends. If you go to the Civil Rights Institute, you will see her pictures all over, videos of her actually in 1960 on up. Really, it's probably further back than that because she was like 89 or something, close to that age. But she will be missed.
Thank you. And Commissioner Knight had something.
Just a couple of things. Congratulations to all the recipients from the county team that received awards and recognition at the ACCMA meeting recently. I think Danielle, Justin, Heather. Oh, okay. Darren, I think, was recognized. So anyway, congratulations to you all. Thank you all very much. And also a shout out and congratulations to the Greater Birmingham Area Business and Visitors and Convention Bureau for being recognized as one of the best places to work in Birmingham. So good for them.
I forgot to welcome Dr. Hamilton back. Welcome back, Dr. Hamilton. Happy to see that you're healthy.
Okay.
Well.
Dr. Hamilton, you got a lot of experience with cows and goats or anything you can help us with on some of this stuff?
You know, this reminds us of some of the things that you feel for all of our citizens. Yeah. And this last case is one that it was difficult to do, but
yes.
You have to follow what the law and the expectations of the citizens are. And you know, personally, I like the animals and the goats and the cows, and I live kind of across the creek from those folks. And I may talk with him, see if he wants to put them by my house.
Well, I stay in
we'll
the
do something
neighborhood
like
across
that.
the street from
Check your zoning.
Check mine.
Yeah.
I promise you that I'm zoned right.
Yeah, now that was
mine isn't.
That was a tough case, but
the zoning is wrong.
Well,
zoning was wrong. You had to go with the zoning.
I understand the people's complaints about. I wouldn't want to walk out and see a cow's butt in the morning either, but they don't live there.
Yeah.
You know that
was key. Had that been their home,
yeah,
and they live there. And we're explaining some stuff now. We probably don't need to from the dais,
probably so.
But we had the same thing in Birmingham. I told you horses. I'm talking about really. This is serious. Horses, cow. It wasn't a cow. It was a goat because it was smaller goat, chickens, roosters. They even slaughtered a hog in the back. So
I want to see them chickens on your porch laying them eggs.
Everyone, I appreciate everyone. I'm not going to say anything today. We've already probably had enough going on. God bless you, and y'all have a good week. This meeting is recessed and further notice.